It was a wonderful night, such a night as is only possible when we are young, dear reader. I will not and cannot believe that evil is the normal condition of mankind. Love a man, even in his sin, for that love is a likeness of the divine love, and is the summit of love on earth. How can a man of consciousness have the slightest respect for himself? What do you think? Would not one tiny crime be wiped out by thousands of good deeds? Love children especially, for they too are sinless like the angels. They live to soften and purify our hearts and, as it were, to guide us. It's the great mystery of human life that old grief passes gradually into quiet, tender joy. I swear, gentlemen, that to be too conscious is an illness, a real thoroughgoing illness. Don't be overwise. Fling yourself straight into life, without deliberation. Don't be afraid the flood will bear you to the bank and set you safe on your feet again. You see, I kept asking myself then, why am I so stupid that if others are stupid and I know they are, yet I won't be wiser? Perhaps I really regard myself as an intelligent man only because throughout my entire life I've never been able to start or finish anything. People with new ideas, people with the faintest capacity for saying something new, are extremely few in number, extraordinarily so, in fact. It's life that matters, nothing but life, the process of discovering, the everlasting and perpetual process, not the discovery itself at all. Lying to ourselves is more deeply ingrained than lying to others. Break what must be broken, once for all, that's all, and take the suffering on oneself. Truly great men must, I think, experience great sorrow on the earth. We sometimes encounter people, even perfect strangers, who begin to interest us at first sight, somehow suddenly, all at once, before a word has been spoken. Existentialism isn't so atheistic that it wears itself out showing that God doesn't exist. Rather, it declares that even if God did exist, that would change nothing. Man has it all in his hands, and it all slips through his fingers from sheer cowardice. Be not forgetful of prayer. Every time you pray, if your prayer is sincere, there will be new feeling and new meaning in it, which will give you fresh courage, and you will understand that prayer is an education. I used to imagine adventures for myself. I invented a life, so that I could at least exist somehow. Your worst sin is that you have destroyed and betrayed yourself for nothing. And what's strange, what would be marvelous, is not that God should really exist. The marvel is that such an idea, the idea of the necessity of God, could enter the head of such a savage, vicious beast as man. The degree of civilization in a society can be judged by entering its prisons. Destroy my desires, eradicate my ideals, show me something better, and I will follow you. I am a fool with a heart but no brains, and you are a fool with brains but no heart. And we are both unhappy, and we both suffer. Grown-up people do not know that a child can give exceedingly good advice even in the most difficult case. Power is given only to him who dares to stoop and take it. One must have the courage to dare. The fear of appearances is the first symptom of impotence. The greatest happiness is to know the source of unhappiness. And the more I drink, the more I feel it. That's why I drink too. I try to find sympathy and feeling in drink. I drink so that I may suffer twice as much. I am alone, I thought, and they are everybody. A beast can never be as cruel as a human being, so artistically, so picturesquely cruel. The man who has a conscience suffers whilst acknowledging his sin. That is his punishment. Killing myself was a matter of such indifference to me that I felt like waiting for a moment when it would make some difference. If you want to overcome the whole world, overcome yourself. The cleverest of all, in my opinion, is the man who calls himself a fool at least once a month. I did not bow down to you. I bowed down to all the suffering of humanity. You will burn and you will burn out. You will be healed and come back again. Sarcasm. The last refuge of modest and chaste-souled people when the privacy of their soul is coarsely and intrusively invaded. Love in action is a harsh and dreadful thing compared to love in dreams. My God, a moment of bliss. Why isn't that enough for a whole lifetime? Nothing is easier than to denounce the evildoer. Nothing is more difficult than to understand him. Besides, nowadays, almost all capable people are terribly afraid of being ridiculous and are miserable because of it. If you want to be respected by others, the great thing is to respect yourself. Only by that, only by self-respect will you compel others to respect you. This is my last message to you. In sorrow, seek happiness. To love is to suffer, and there can be no love otherwise. I think the devil doesn't exist, but man has created him. He has created him in his own image and likeness. It is better to be unhappy and know the worst than to be happy in a fool's paradise. Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. Compassion was the most important, perhaps the sole law of human existence. The most offensive is not their lying. One can always forgive lying. Lying is a delightful thing, for it leads to truth. What is offensive is that they lie and worship their own lying. Of course, my jokes are in poor taste, inappropriate, and confused. They reveal my lack of security, but that is because I have no respect for myself. Man is a creature that can get accustomed to anything, and I think that is the best definition of him. God is necessary and therefore must exist, but I know that he does not and cannot exist. Don't you understand that a man with these two thoughts cannot go on living? Love is such a priceless treasure that you can buy the whole world with it and redeem not only your own but other people's sins. Go and do not be afraid. One man doesn't believe in God at all, while the other believes in him so thoroughly that he prays as he murders men. In every idea of genius, or in every new human idea, or more simply still, in every serious human idea born in anyone's brain, there is something that cannot possibly be conveyed to others. It's not God that I don't accept, Alyosha, only I most respectfully return him the ticket. If he's honest, he'll steal. If he's human, he'll murder. If he's faithful, he'll deceive. I like revisiting, at certain times, spots where I was once happy. I like to shake the present in the image of the irretrievable past. The whole work of man really seems to consist in nothing but proving to himself every minute that he is a man and not a piano key. An intelligent man cannot become anything seriously, and it is only the fool who becomes anything. I almost do not exist now, and I know it. God knows what lives in me in place of me. Sorrow compressed my heart, and I felt I would die, and then I woke up. I've never been a coward at heart, although I've always been a coward in action. But I always like side paths, little dark back alleys behind the main road. There one finds adventures and surprises and precious metal in the dirt. Life is paradise, and we are all in paradise, but we refuse to see it. But to fall in love does not mean to love. One can fall in love and still hate. To care only for well-being seems to me positively ill-bred. Whether it's good or bad, it is sometimes very pleasant, too, to smash things. The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. Through error you come to the truth. I am a man because You never reach any truth without making 14 mistakes, and very likely 114. They were renewed by love. The heart of each held infinite sources of life for the heart of the other. Since man cannot live without miracles, he will provide himself with miracles of his own making. He will believe in witchcraft and sorcery, even though he may otherwise be a heretic, an atheist, and a rebel. People really do like seeing their best friends humiliated. A large part of the friendship is based on humiliation, and that is an old truth, well known to all intelligent people. We must never forget that human motives are generally far more complicated than we are apt to suppose, and that we can very rarely accurately describe the motives of another.